Mr. Chairman.
Who seeks recognition? The gentleman from California.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think the question is not to speak to motives, but to ask, for what purpose does any person in our country need a 100-round magazine? Is it to hunt? Is it to shoot for sport? Is it to protect yourself and your home? Or is it to carry out mass killings, as we see time after time? And I think there have been some fair criticisms of the different pieces of legislation tonight, but what I see kind of reminds me of like a 100-piece puzzle. And if each piece represented a different gun safety reform, what my colleagues do is they pull out a piece and they say, well, this piece doesn't make sense. We don't know what this piece would do. And that may be true. There may be imperfections of each piece of legislation that we offer. But ultimately, when you put background checks, red flag laws, magazine capacity limitations together, and other reforms that I sense will be coming, what you have is a safer America. But if you're going to take each piece and say, well, this would not have prevented X, Y, Z shooting, then there's no reason for us ever to show up here and do anything on anything that affects our lives. But if we can just reduce one shooting, 1,000 shootings. It was predicted today by a doctor based on science that testified to a gun safety task force that over the next 10 years in America, there will be 1 million gun violence victims. What if we could protect just half of those people? The gentleman from Florida also made a fair criticism that this bill does not ban assault weapons. I think we should ban assault weapons. He also said that it grandfathers in approximately 250 million magazines that are out there that go beyond the capacity in this bill. That's true, and I think we should all seek to fund buyback programs through other initiatives in Congress to reduce the availability of those magazines on the streets today. But what this piece of legislation does is it gives us all, our constituents, a chance. A chance if someone comes into our church to have a few extra seconds because they don't have 100 rounds, they only have 10. It gives us a chance if someone comes into the theater to run for the exits. It gives us a chance if someone shoots up a concert to duck for cover. And it gives our children a chance when they're in school. If someone walks, God forbid, through their halls, just a few more seconds to spare their lives. It's not perfect. Upstream legislation, like prohibiting what can even be made, holding manufacturers liable, having licensing requirements and insurance requirements and background checks are a much better way to prevent shootings in the first place. But if somebody is going to do harm, this just gives us time. It gives us a chance. And it could happen to any one of us, any of our constituents, any of our children.